Hello there, everybody. How's it going? Good to see you. Zeneca Blues, how you doing? Johnny? Johnny says, thank you for doing these, man. Look forward to it every month, whether I catch it live or on the rewatch. Awesome, Johnny. I'm glad to hear that. Jake says, let's go. Matt says, wait, you're going live same time as Flint Dibble. Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry, Flint. And sorry for this light here. Not much I can do. Anyway, where are you calling in from? Where are you doing your chat from? What countries are you from? I'd love to hear about that. Carl says, good evening, Dr. M. Semi-serious question here. What's your opinion about the Ark of the Covenant? Is there evidence that it actually existed outside of written sources? Well, so far, Carl, I have not seen any outside evidence of where it has existed outside of the written sources. I know there are claims about Ethiopia, that it might be there. I'm a little skeptical about that. Maybe I should do a Ark of the Covenant video under Ancient Mysteries series. Carol says, hi from Berlin. Pompinaros is from California. Emma says, hi from Germany. Rose from Brazil. Dan from London. Sobek, Lord Sobek. Good to see you. Jason. Confucius from Palestine. Matthew says, hi, Dr. M. I'm Matthew, the grumpy tall Scotsman who was on your trip earlier this month. Matthew, good to see you. Yes, everybody, did you know I just got back from Egypt? Yeah. Now, you probably know I already did a series in Egypt for my Antiquities travel guide, but that was only half the country. So we did the other half, and this time we took like 30 people with us, and we had the most amazing time. So much so, and it went so well. It was all the logistics were handled by Adept Expeditions, and then I just did the content. But it went so well that we're thinking of maybe doing it again next year. Not in Egypt, but maybe in a different place. And we'll keep going and see how we do. Nancy says hi from New York. NCM's from Vietnam. We got Jason from Kansas, Larry from NYC, Chuck from Spokane. Music nerd from Minnesota, Sergen from Istanbul. Wow, this is great. Costa Rica, Iowa, Baltimore. Awesome. Well, what are we here for today, folks? I'll tell you what we're here for. Jeanette from Tasmania. We even got Tasmania here. All right. What are we doing here? We're going to go over the archaeological news for this month. All the discoveries from November. I like to do this every month because I want people to understand, because a lot of people don't, that history is always updating, right? Because we find new things every month. There's new discoveries in the ground. There's new studies that come out, and we update. So history is constantly changing. Every month, things change. And people have this idea that somehow it doesn't change, it always stays the same, but no. So we're going to talk about some of the great discoveries of this month. I've curated all the ones that I thought were kind of the coolest, right? And we're concentrating on the ancient period. There's also medieval discoveries and things like that, prehistoric discoveries, but we're going to stick with the ancient stuff. All right. Oh, and Glenn is here as our moderator. So, hi, Glenn. Give him your greatest respect. Thank you. All right. Let's look at our first archaeological discovery for this month that I wanted to share with you, and it's a good one. Let me share my screen. Like so. I think we want. Oh, yeah. How did I do this last time? We don't want that one. We don't want. Okay. I usually do the Chrome tab, but it's got the wrong Chrome tab here. Maybe I have to be in the tabs with everything else. Let's try that. Okay. You think after doing this every month, I'd I know what I'm doing. It's still doing it. Well, let's see what happens here. Oh, I know, because I'm on this tab. Okay, so let's go to this tab. All right. How's that look, everybody? Does that look okay? Can you see my tab? World's oldest alphabet. Actually, I do have to pull this out. Yeah, there we go. All right, it's working. It's working. All right, world's oldest alphabet found on ancient clay gift tag. What's this all about? This little thing that you see on the screen is just the size of a finger. It actually kind of looks like a finger. Was found at el Mara in northern Syria. Okay, it is 4,500 years old, and apparently it bears the word Silanu on it, and we don't really know exactly what that means. Okay, but we can read it because it's in an alphabet that we understand. All right. Alphabet between you know the difference between like an alphabet and like a syllabic script like cuneiform. You usually can tell by the number of letters, number of signs. They'd only be letters if it's an alphabet. And so if it has somewhere between 20 and 40 characters, then it's an alphabet. If it has more than that, it's usually considered syllabic or some other kind of system. Yeah. So we originally, before this discovery, 1900 BCE was the earliest we knew about of an alphabet. Now, we actually thought around that time was when it was created, right, by Semitic-speaking peoples. That's called the Proto-Sinaitic alphabet. And now we've got one older than that, several hundred years older, like 600 years older than that. Okay, so it's going to change the way we think about the alphabet. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's in agreement. This is the excavator here who's making this claim, but seems to be a representation of the alphabet. So, yeah, you can read up on that. I'm going to leave all the links below the video. They're not there now, but after I get off, I'll put them all on there. I don't like to put them on beforehand because then people just say, well, I'm not going to watch him. I'm just going to click on it. So anyway, so see, this is an example of history changing. We find something else. It's going to then alter the way we look at the past. So we have to add it to our, a body of knowledge and revise. So that's pretty cool. Another one I want to share with you here is PhD student finds lost city in the Mexico jungle by accident. Yeah, a huge Maya city has been discovered centuries after it disappeared under jungle canopy in Mexico. This is in Campeche, which is in the Yucatan. And they uncovered a hidden complex using LiDAR. You know about LiDAR, right? Laser survey mapping. And they believe it is second in density only to Calakmul. I don't know if you know much about Calakmul. I did a video on Calakmul a few years ago. That's the largest Maya city, Calakmul. This is second in density only to that. So this is not like some small town that was found. They found a major Maya city. Now, of course, archaeologists have to go in there and excavate it. All right. However, they have been able to ascertain from the LiDAR, okay, that 30 to 50,000 people lived there at its peak from 750 to 850. I'm not sure how they're dating it by LiDAR, but I'm assuming it's by the, you can date by styles, so it's relative dating. So that's probably why they've got that those dates. They may be revised as they do more work there. Yeah. There are no pictures of the city, but it's similar to Calakmul, which is what you see there in the photo. All right. It has the hallmarks of a capital city. So this is a major discovery I just had to tell you about. And a PhD student found it. Okay. By accident, if you're looking at LiDAR maps, right, he must have been looking for something else. I'm assuming it's a he. Does it say it's a he? Could be a she. But if the student, oh wait, does it? Oh, yeah, Luke Ald Thomas. It's a he. So he probably was looking for something else and then stumbled upon it. But, that's the purpose of LiDAR, is to search for new things. So there you go. But it makes a great story that he stumbled on it by accident. All right. Let me check the chat and see what you guys are talking about. I'm trying to figure out if I can do it without changing my screen. Good, I can. All right. Hello from Belgium, says Bob. Nano Reaper says, according to Graham Hancock, historians never change their ideas. Sarcasm. 30 to 50,000. That's 29,000 more than live in my town. Okay. When are you making a Netflix series, says Bob. Well, I don't know. In order to make a series, you have to pitch it. Anthony, thank you so much for the donation. Do you have any view on the purpose of the Wall of the Crow at Giza? Could it be possible that it was connected to a lost fourth pyramid? Anthony, my short answer is I'm not certain at this point. It's something that I have to dig deeper into to get more. I don't know all of the details, so I hope you're not disappointed that you had to pay for that, and then I didn't give you a full answer, but I really am not sure. Where are you insofar as your relationship with the diabolical Dr. Debunk? Well, Selena, we had a little interchange the other day over there on X, and he's gotten a little bit meaner in the last few months because it seems to be working, the drama farming and all that. So he calls me names and things like that. But yeah, he recently said, well, I'm not going to talk about him. Okay, I'm not a gossiper. But anyway, we never had a relationship, but he actually got along with Mini Minuteman for a while, but not so anymore. All right. Heathen History says, found multiple maps of Mayan cities, tried contacting multiple people. Nobody wants to see them because I don't have doctor in front of my name. Well, I wouldn't say that. But you know what? This is the same with me. I get tons and tons of people writing emails, sending me messages saying, I found this, I found that. I just can't keep up with everybody, and everyone's like saying, I got a groundbreaking whatever. So we become kind of numb to that. But I mean, keep trying. You might find somebody. I wish I could. I mean, I'm not a Maya expert, so I'm not the person to talk to about that. But if you have something, all right, somebody might be interested. You just got to find the right person. And there's dozens of Mayan archaeologists. So Johnny says, I'm sad I missed out on the last adventure to Upper Egypt. Once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm sure the participants are so happy. Johnny, they had a good time, they said. It was really quite a trip. It's all going to be on video coming up early next year. I got to finish my China series first. We're going to hear all about it. And next year, we'll go somewhere else. Okay. And in the chat, if there are any places that you think we should go, let me know. Okay. Is it true, says Frozen Joe, that there are translations documenting on chariot extended warranties chiseled in stone? Maybe. Probably. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure which ones you're referring to, but I expect yes, but I don't know specifically. Sorry. I bet a few of the translations say, if you break it, you buy it. Yes. All right, let's look at another one, shall we? 4,000-year-old Dilmun temple discovered on Failaka Island, Kuwait. I don't know if you know much about Dilmun. Dilmun was an extremely early civilization in Arabia. And it flourished, what's it say here? 3,200 to 320 BC. So this is a long period of time, obviously 3,000 years. But they found a 4,000-year-old Bronze Age temple right there. It's near the Persian Gulf. You could actually, I think you can see it behind there. Maybe that's just the horizon, but it looks like water. Not much of it is left, but they did find a temple. Okay, this is And Bahrain is where the Dilmun capital is, but I guess Kuwait is nearby. So we have traces of the wall thought to have been part of the temple platform were discovered in earlier excavations, and they were dated between 1900 and 1800. The entire temple has now been unearthed. So it's ongoing. So you could say like, oh, they already discovered it. Why are you telling us this is news? Well, they discovered more of it. Okay. And here's some gemstones, beads that they found at the temple site. So you can read up on that as well. Now, the next two are kind of related. They're both about the Phrygians, or Phrygians, if you want to say that. 2,600 years old. Okay, so we're talking about the 7th century BCE. A sacred room in stone symbolizing the goddess Kubaba, discovered at the site called Oluz Hoyuk. You can see a bit of it here. They discovered a sacred room and stone from the Phrygian period, dating back, well, I already told you that, in the village of Toklujak, near the Black Sea province of Amasya. And the stone is linked to the goddess Kubaba. And historical texts describe a black stone symbolizing the goddess Kubaba. Finding a sacred stone in a square structure dedicated to her in central Anatolia is of profound significance in Anatolian archaeology. This discovery brings to life the written sources, providing tangible evidence of the relationship between the sacred stone and the mother goddess. So we have texts, right? Oh, it's 6th century, not 7th. We have texts that talk about Kubaba and a stone, a sacred stone that was linked with her. Now we find an actual reference to her with a stone, so it has verified the ancient sources. So that's kind of cool. Not much to the stone, as you can see, but there it is. Yeah. And the other Phrygian discovery is here. Same age, okay? An ancient inscription decorated with lions and sphinxes is finally deciphered and involves the mother of the gods. So here you see it's called Arslan Kaya, sometimes Aslan Kaya, means lion rock, and there it is. Now you probably know I went to Turkey last year. We explored some Phrygian ruins, but we did not go to this place. Anyway, it is. It has an inscription there with the name Materan. You probably recognize Mater, right? It's a Phrygian goddess, and they called her Mother. That was her title. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the same as Kubaba. Boy, I better double check that. But I'm pretty sure Kubaba is is who evolves into Kibele, which is the mother goddess. So I think this is the same goddess, different site, but also Phrygian. Okay, mentioning her. So that was in a paper that just came out in late October. So it's kind of cool when they decipher inscriptions. It was hard to read, so they had to take special photographs and everything. There was looting done there, but they re-examined it and he was able to make out the word. So yeah, so those are two Phrygian discoveries. Let's see. Turkey doesn't have so many rivers to wash everything away like in Mesopotamia. Well, there are some, but you're right. They're not super big ones. I don't think it's just the rivers that are washing things away in Mesopotamia, but that's part of it because they have changed course. I don't get the bananas in the gardens joke, but I haven't been paying attention to everybody. Boy, there are a lot of gods out there. There certainly are. Every country's got them. Do we have a detailed insight about the origins of the candelabra of the Andes or Paracas candelabra? Because there's some conspiracy theory revolving around it. I did not hear about that, Poseidon. You mean that there's a connection between the two? Ooh, might be interesting to sink my teeth into that one. Well, you know, this is, I can tell you right off the top of my head, because this is the kind of thing we see a lot, and that is people look at something in art over here and they look at something in art over there and they say, hey, it kind of looks like each other. There must be a link. There could be a link, but you have to have other evidences of links, right? Or it could just be a coincidence, you know? And I think Paracas, Andes, I think probably coincidence, but we'll have to look into it some more. All right, let's look at another one here. DNA analysis identifies the genetic makeup of the Piceni. Sometimes you could say Piceni, the most fascinating civilizations of pre-Roman Italy. So, yeah, this is about Italy, okay? There was a international team that got together, organized by Sapienza University of Rome, and they took DNA of over 100 skeletons found in ancient necropolises in central Italy, covering a period of more than 1,000 years, to determine the genes of these people who lived here. Okay, it was published in Genome Biology. I don't have that actually up here, but there was a full scientific paper on it, and it differentiates Adriatic from Tyrrhenian peoples. And if you don't know what that means, there's the Adriatic Sea on one side of Italy, and there's the Tyrrhenian Sea on the other side of Italy, right? Is there a genetic difference between the people who lived on one coast and the people who lived on the other coast? And the answer appears to be yes. Okay, so you have these ancient Italic people known as the Picentes or Piceni, who lived between the rivers Folia and Aterno. And you can see on the map here where they lived in Italy. Okay, they're on the Adriatic Sea. Okay, and so they did DNA studies. Okay, we have a great phantom that has haunted us for many decades. On the Adriatic, this phantom is the Piceni. They wanted to know more about these people and where they came from. Okay, and they found that they differed significantly from populations on the Tyrrhenian coast of the Italian peninsula in terms of genetic makeup, indicating that the geographical and cultural context of these two communities contributed to the development of unique traits. They are different, right? If you compare with the Etruscans, for example, they have different cultures, and this may explain why, because they came from different places, okay? The study found that they showed a greater prevalence of phenotypic traits such as blue eyes and light hair, features much less common among coeval populations such as the Etruscans and Latins. Etruscans and Latins are more similar. Okay, so they are a unique people there in Italy. This is one of their warriors. So an interesting new genetic study. Hopefully we'll find out more about them. All right. I put all my Archeo News ones in the front. I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, recent excavations reveal the complete water conservancy system of the nearly 5,000-year-old Liangzhu ruins. Now, if you don't know anything about Liangzhu, it's in China, of course. And it's over on the east coast of China. And it is a culture that immediately preceded the first dynasty of China, the Xia dynasty. So it kind of leads into it. And you start to see in Liangzhu some of the elements that would be necessary in order to have a state appear. Liangzhu was not a state, but it has some of the initial elements that would be necessary for that. And one of the things they just recently discovered here is a water conservancy system. Okay, they found 20 ancient dams. 7 of them can be dated around 5,000 years ago and are part of the same system. Okay, so the Liangzhu culture is from 3,300 to 2,300 BCE or so. All right. Previous studies have found China's hitherto earliest large-scale water conservancy system in the northwest of the Liangzhu ancient city. So they already had some elements of a water conservancy system before they found these new dams. Okay. But it is much larger now than they previously thought. Okay, 20. They had 11 dams, and now they found 20 more. Okay, using remote sensing, geographic information systems, and artificial intelligence to find them. And it has revealed the complete layout of the Liangzhu water system. So you can see the area here. All right. I'm not sure. I can't see where the dams are here now that I look at it. Are they on here? That's just a topographic map of the Liangzhu site. I guess the dams are not on this map. But yeah, only early forms of state-level societies could have undertaken such monumental engineering projects, right? You got to organize people, right? You have to have the manpower and you have to have the money in order to do it. And by the way, I just got invited by someone to come visit Liangzhu. And so if you're in the chat, if you're watching, hello, Emma. Anyway, yeah, Liangzhu, by the way, is also one of the first Chinese prehistoric cultures that shows evidence of social stratification, right? Earlier cultures, people were generally equal, but in Liangzhu, there's the haves and the have-nots. Also, usually what happens just before you create a state. Okay, yeah, so that's pretty interesting too. Richard, thank you so much for the donation. Good evening, Dr. Miano. Just wanted to thank you for your channel. I'm just a working class man from London's East End. Thank you so much for contributing to my education, LLAP. Thank you, Richard. I very much appreciate it. Yes. Jasmine says, Proto-Indo-Europeans look like me. Ah, okay. Yeah, these Piceni appear to be Indo-Europeans, of course. Well, actually, all the Italians were Indo-Europeans. But anyway, yes. This is more medieval related, but have you all seen the multispectral imagery of the Voynich manuscript? Saw it, yeah. I don't. It's not something that I've studied in depth, but very interesting. Ancient China, I don't know anything about it, says Bob. Well, Bob, you may be happy to know that I teach a course on ancient China. I mean, I just had the first class on Sunday. There's going to be 5 more. If anyone wants to come in, even though we started already, it's a live class. We do have recordings of. I have a recording of the first class, so you can get caught up. So if anyone wants to take the class, okay, all you have to do is go to mianoacademy.org. It's actually not my academy. It's my brother's academy. He teaches art, but he's got me hosted on there. /history courses, history-courses, something like that. But you could also just go to the main page and look for the history courses in the menu. And yeah, I'm teaching a course right now on China up to the Qin dynasty, and then in January I'll be doing one from the Han dynasty to the Tang dynasty, the imperial period. And so if you want to go down, dig in there deep, okay, really get to learn about Chinese history, it'll be fun, okay? And then if you don't, if you just want to get it for free, well, you don't really get into it deep, but I do have my Antiquities Explorer series about ancient China going on right now, and the new episode is going to drop in a few days. But that's just about the certain sites and doesn't really get into all the details about everything. But it's fun too. Yeah. Okay, let's look at another one. A new study reveals unique characteristics and complex origins of late Bronze Age swords discovered in the Balearic Islands. As you know, that's in the Mediterranean near Spain. This is a minor study here, but it's a study that examined the bronze makeup of the swords and other weaponry from the islands. Okay, by the way, they are 3,000 years old, with the whole collection, with the collection as a whole dating to 1,800 BC. And basically in this study, they have been able to analyze how the composition of the bronze changed over time. So it shows that, like, for example, that they got a hold of a different kind of tin and all that later on. And so the composition changed over time. So this is the kind of studies people do. If you're interested in Bronze Age weaponry, all right, I thought that was kind of an interesting study. All right. I hope this is these are all archaeo news. All right. An ancient necropolis and coins discovered in Castel Fortress, a national monument of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So basically what happened here, you see that fort there? It's a national monument. People go visit it all the time. Well, just so happens some people were cleaning there. This is a couple of years ago now, and they found some stuff underneath it. And so then now I think they got students excavating there, professors too, it says. They found some ancient coins. They found an ancient necropolis. That means a city of the dead, of course, a cemetery. And you can see down here them digging on the grounds. Yeah. So who'd have thought, well, I guess you could have surmised that a beautiful fort, this is from later times, was built on top of something else. In this case, it was built on top of a cemetery. All right. It was 6 years ago that they first found things there. So anyway, every year they have been digging there, and this year they found these coins and the cemetery. So this is pretty cool. It is believed to have been constructed on the remains of a Roman settlement known as Castra. So that's an interesting discovery too. And I think this is the last Archaeo news. The Temple of Poseidon at Samikon. So this was already found. Okay, I think in 2022 it was, 2021. They found the remains of a Temple of Poseidon here. Okay. And this is in the Peloponnese, so this is in Greece. Okay. But well, first of all, when they found the Temple of Poseidon, and it looked very small at the time, they said, oh, Strabo, the Roman geographer, mentions the Temple of Poseidon here, and we've just discovered the temple that he was talking about. So that was a kind of a big discovery a few years ago. Oh, now it says 2022 here. Oh, but they unearthed it in 2021? Okay, anyway, it says it was discovered in 2022. And then he unearthed the foundation walls of the building in 2021. I don't understand that. Okay. Well, maybe it was like late 2021 and early 2022. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, now they found more of it. Okay. So you can see sort of on the right, the original part they found, and then they found more of it. So the temple is actually much larger than they previously thought. So, which makes a little bit more sense because Strabo talks about it like it's a significant temple. So that was the discovery here. You can see a little bit close up there. Yeah. They don't know what every room was for, they said, but it looks to be a double temple in which two deities were worshipped, or it's two rooms, one behind the other, one of which could have served as a meeting place for the Amphictyony of the cities of the Triphalian region. Amphictyony means like a group of tribes who meet. Okay. Yeah. Probably dates back to the 6th century BC. But the roof was dismantled around 300 BC and deposited inside the building. Anyway, you can read up more on that. Let's see. Would love to see an antiquities guide for ancient Greece, Crete, Cyprus, says Jason. That sounds like a good one, Jason. I was just looking at stats from my people on my email list. They take a little survey when they join up. And second to Egypt in interest was Greece. I was surprised. I thought it would be Rome. Rome was third. So people are interested in Greece. Might be a good place to go. Not a lot of stabbing with those swords. Maybe, Bob. They weren't very pointy, were they? I wonder if the fort was haunted. A good site is often a good site later. Yeah. At least it's not a fake pyramid, says Stuart. At least it's not hyperdiffusion. All right. Do archaeologists from America make a good earning without having to make an individual YouTube channel? No, they don't. They make a teacher's salary. Yeah, and especially if you're like an assistant professor or something like that, it's very low. Okay, but even if you're a full professor, it's not, they don't make a lot. You go into it because you enjoy it, because you like it, right? If you like to discover things and learn new things and all that, because there's always something new, and it's a great thing, you know, if you love history and love all that stuff, then you're not going to get rich. Okay, you're not going to get rich. I'm a historian, same problem. Okay. Teacher salary. That's why I make a YouTube channel. I make more money on my YouTube channel just from commercials on the videos than I do teaching at the school. Okay. Explain that one. Right. So anyway, did they worship Poseidon for a better fish haul? Well, you could ask Poseidon for a lot of things, but that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Let's look at another one. Ancient ingenuity revealed. Archaeologists unveil secrets of Tartessian construction. You know about Tartessos? This was a civilization for a long time. We didn't even know if it was real, but they have now found it, of course, in Spain. That's not what this is. That was previously they found that. But now they're studying more and more about Tartessians. Okay. And this is a study on construction techniques. Okay. So basically, wait a minute. Why are these? Oh, they must be ads. I have the ad blocker on. So these must be ads. The Tartessians' use of sustainable construction techniques and organized labor at the Casas del Toruñuelo have been detailed in recent research, offering valuable lessons for modern construction. Yeah. So the study was conducted by researchers from the Universities of Helsinki and Murcia alongside the Institute of Archaeology, CSIC. Yeah. Now, what do they mean by sustainable? Okay. Sustainable is you're able to continually to update the buildings or whatever and keep them going for a very long time, right? Highly adapted, sustainable approach. So very important building technique. It highlights the advanced architectural skills of the Tartessians, but also underscores their sustainable approach to building in harmony with their local environment. Yeah. So that's a new one. All right. Spain would be another great place to go. Now that we can look at Tartessos and there's all kinds of Roman ruins there. There were Greek colonies that were made there, and there's all kinds of things in Spain. USF professor. This is right near me. This is Tampa. Okay, just north of me. And Graham Hancock might like this one. Huh? He might even post it. Who knows? That'd be something to bet on, right? If Graham Hancock posts this. USF professor confirms Egyptians drank hallucinogenic cocktails in ancient rituals. There, he's holding a replica there. The original is, well, you can see a little bit here and here. See, that's the head of Bes. Are you familiar with the god Bes, the ancient Egyptian fertility god? Bes. Yeah. Anyway, they examined the contents, the residue that was left in this mug. Okay. Through advanced chemical analyses, David Tanasi examined one of the world's few remaining Egyptian Bes mugs. Okay. There's no research out there that ever found what we found in this study, he said. He found evidence of plants that have psychotropic and medicinal properties. Does it say what exact drugs? The base had a cocktail of psychedelic drugs, bodily fluids, and alcohol. A combination he believes was used in a magical ritual reenacting an Egyptian myth, likely for fertility. The concoction was flavored with honey, sesame seeds, pine nuts, licorice, and grapes. They were commonly used to make the beverage look like blood. He doesn't say what the psychotropic plants are, though. But anyway, we could look at the study to find out. I'll leave a link for that. So that's kind of interesting, too. Let's see. Where do I start if I want to create an official archaeological hypothesis after gathering evidence? Well, Jay, I mean, are you conducting an archaeological dig, or are you doing like a LiDAR survey, or what? Like some people, they use Google Earth, I suppose. If you have a hypothesis, no problem. But people don't usually publish unless they find something, right? So what I would do is if you think you've got something and think something's there, show somebody who might be able to go and look. Then you might be on your way. An archaeological survey is usually how they start, where they just have people go in there and just scan the ground. They don't do any digging just yet, but just to see what's on the ground there. That can help too. But you got to get an archaeologist, which I'm not. I'm a historian. You get rich in another way. Rich in knowledge. Yes, that's right. Rich in knowledge, music nerd. Let's see. Oh, rad. Thank you so much for the donation. I don't have a question, but wanted to thank you. I appreciate it very much. This channel is completely supported by viewers like you, as they say on PBS. Occasionally, I will do like a commercial for a brand or something like that, but they're hard to come by. They don't pay a whole lot. So mostly this channel gets supported by you guys. So I really appreciate it. Yeah. Jasmine says, see how a real archaeologist like Flint talks about the past? It's all about evidence and methodology, yet for Graham it's a form of mass agitation where his audience is permanently mobilized. They are mobilized, let me tell you. They come after me, especially over on X. Yeah. Lisa says the universities have huge endowments. They should be paying better. The endowments are usually for the sciences, the hard sciences, I should say. History hardly gets anything. Archaeology might get a little bit more than history, but yeah, it's independent foundations, nonprofits that help out archaeologists. Yeah. Oh, Perpleze, am I saying that right? Thank you so much for the donation. I know we have butted heads before, but you are genuinely one of the good academics. I would like to offer alternative views, as you call them. I seek to explore beyond the confines of academia. Nothing wrong with other views, certainly. But of course, in order to get noticed, this is something that I discussed over on social media with some people from India. But if you want to enter into the discussion, you have to submit to a peer-reviewed academic journal. Now, in order to do that, you have to know how to make a good paper, right? Which is something that I could teach people on. But it's basically, the bottom line is you have to engage with past scholarship. You have to have a serious analysis and all of that. And that's how you can persuade people. But the other way you could do it is propose your alternative idea to someone who is a subject expert, like in that area. Say, what do you think of this? They might shoot it down. They might say, I don't think it's a great idea. Or they can say, might have something there. And maybe you can get them to do it. But it's hard, people don't usually take requests, but could happen. And you gave me some more money. Wow. I can see your audience enjoys dunking on noobs like me. I want to learn because I believe there are flaws. That's all. Don't dunk on Perpleze, okay, everybody? I'm sure his heart's in the right place. All right. They're used to this channel, of course, being one that debunks a lot of the misinformation out there. That's why they're kind of like that. But I think they're generally nice people. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at another one here. I think I'm a little behind in the comments. But anyway. Earliest ancient Maya salt production in southern Belize. Excavations at Jayina. Or is it Jayina? Yeah, so this is in Belize. Small country. I've been there. Very nice country. They speak English there. Anyway, underwater. These are underwater excavations that are taking place at this site, Jayina. And they found evidence of salt works. Okay. Focusing on the creation of salt cakes by boiling brine in pots supported over fires in dedicated salt kitchens. So this was once above water. Now it is below the water. And this is from, they discovered the salt works from about 550 to 800. This is late classic, but they have discovered things at the site going back to the early classic, 250 to 550. Yeah, this is all publicly available here, and you can learn all about ancient Maya salt production. Um, uh, yeah, salt has been important for a long time, as you can see. And of course, it was used for cooking and things like that. But salt has other uses too. You can see some of the remains of the buildings, the salt works, and look how they do these underwater excavations. You know how on land they make these squares. That's how they organize the plots and all that. Well, how do you do that underwater? Well, that's how. Okay, you put the grid, all right, where you can see it on the surface of the water. I don't think it's floating. I think it's anchored, but it shows you where these things are. Yeah. So anyway, pretty cool. Salt works. All right, how about another one? I did that one. Roman road revealed directly under Old Kent Road. Okay, take a look at this. This is in London, southeast London. There's Old Kent Road. I guess they were working on it, and they discovered underneath, it's not even that far underneath the ground, as you can see, the old Roman road. And the old Roman road was called Watling Street. 2,000 years old. It ran from the Roman port at Dover through London to the West Midlands. Yeah. So they're doing archaeological work there now. Every time they uncover something, they have to call in the archaeologists, right? Because they don't want it destroyed or ruined. Or if it does have to get ruined, they want to take pictures and catalog everything and record it before they do. This is the first physical proof that sections of the ancient route survived directly beneath its modern counterpart. First physical proof. I thought maybe they already knew that, but maybe they did know it, but they didn't have evidence of it. But yeah, the Roman road is directly underneath the modern road. It's unbelievable, really. So that's pretty cool. So you can check that out. Here's a study, not an archaeological discovery, but a study about the origins of writing in Mesopotamia. And this is really interesting because one of the things that is a big kind of an open question, and that is how did cuneiform evolve from whatever to what it is, right? So to symbols or pictographs into what it is. And so there's all kinds of studies about this being done. This is a little bit on the side, though. This is about cylinder seals. So you see this cylinder seal here? See that? That's a cylinder seal on the left. And then on the right is when you roll it out, that's what it looks like. Okay. The thing on the left is actually ancient. The thing on the right is not. But as you can see, cylinder seals, and this is just an example, have symbols on them, many of which are difficult to interpret. All right. Well, anyway, a study published in the Antiquity Journal, all right, has come to the conclusion that the symbols on the cylinder seals are connected with cuneiform. They're proto-cuneiform signs. So we actually have proto-cuneiform signs elsewhere. And so the comparison is between those and the symbols on the seals. Now, the seals are from later, but there seems to be a connection. Okay. So I think there's a link between the symbols on the seals and proto-cuneiform. This is a new discovery. So it's advancing our knowledge of how writing developed in those very early days in Mesopotamia. So really cool. I thought that was. Let's see. What else we got here? Dan says, for funding, it helps to use something the military would want, such as ground penetrating radar and LiDAR. Lots of money in that. Yeah. Oh, so you guys are talking about money here. Archaeologists do get a little money, but it all gets spent on food, transportation, housing, and if we're lucky, a few beers at least. Yes. Let's see. No one's scared of new ideas. It's just what you think are new ideas are very old ideas that have been disproven. That's actually kind of true, Kujin. So for example, the idea about a comet impact and destroying Atlantis and all this lost civilization stuff goes back to the 1800s, and they just keep bringing it back, right? These are ideas that already got discussed a long time ago, but they don't want to let them die. And then they think, oh, no one's paying attention. Anyway, you guys are having a good time chatting over here. I can't possibly go through all of these right now. But anyway, I think most of you here are here to see the news. So let's do another one. Archaeologists identify centuries-old battle site in Iraq using declassified spy satellite images. Now, this is right on the border of like at the end of the ancient period, the beginning of medieval period. But I thought it's close. This battle took place in 636 or 637. All right. The Battle of Qadisiyah, if I'm saying that right, which was an ancient battle between the Arab Muslims and the Sassanids. Okay. So that was the other great empire that the Arabs brought down back in the 600s. And this was a major battle that the Arabs won. And nobody knew exactly where it was. Now they have figured out where it was. And so that was pretty cool using these satellite images. So if you want to read about that, there you go. This also is not exactly ancient, but it's close. So I put it in here. This is at Borobudur. I don't know if you know about Borobudur. It's a Buddhist temple. They used AI to reveal a lost ancient relief. Okay. Basically, they took a photo that already existed. It's 134 years old that showed this relief on the temple. And then now it's covered up. They plastered over it or something like that. I think they plastered over it. They built over it or plastered over it. And now they used the photo to reconstruct what it looked like. And there you can see it's from the 8th or 9th century. So it's a little bit not ancient, but early medieval. Did you hear that? I hope everything is okay. I'm still online, right? Okay. Yeah, so a research team from Ritsumeikan University did the work here to reproduce the relief. And you can see the full relief right here. Pretty cool. Put together by AI. Yeah, you think you're looking at a real relief? Well, kind of, sort of. It's AI reconstructed. It exists, but this is not an actual photo of it. Or it's based on a photo of it, I should say. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. This one, oh no, I'm sorry. This is similar to the reconstructed one. Well, wait a minute. Where is the reconstruct? I guess it's this one. Oh, wait, no, this is Getty Images. Wait a minute. Is it already in Getty Images? Probably not. Where is it? Was the author here unable to get one? Let's see. Let's click on this, huh? No, that's a different one. Huh. Well, that's a little... I mean, maybe that's it? But that says similar to that, which a new AI model is reconstructed. These are just Getty Images. All right, well, if anyone can find the actual reconstructed photo, I would like to see it. Oh, that's a little disappointing. I should have caught that before. Archaeologists perplexed. They always do that in headlines. Archaeologists are baffled. They're puzzled. They're perplexed. I'm sure they didn't say that, okay? But they found strangely modified sheep horns in ancient Egypt. And they look like this. Now look at those sheep horns. This is at the site of Hierakonpolis. That's the Greek name. The ancient Egyptian name was Nekhen. And I went there a few weeks ago. Yeah, I was at Nekhen. This is a site, archaeological site, that tourists don't go to, but I got special permission to go there. Didn't see the sheep horns, though. Saw other things, amazing things, which I will show you in an upcoming video. But so when I found this, I'm like, oh, they found this at Nekhen. Well, when I went there, archaeologists were working there. They're working there. This is a city, by the way, that there's nothing there today, right? There's the entire area is like just like desert. Okay, there's nobody there. It just fizzled out and disappeared, but stuff's under the ground, and they're doing work there. And so these are modified sheep horns. And why did they modify the sheep horns? Well, yeah, are they perplexed? They do have a theory. Okay. The horns had been intentionally manipulated to grow upwards, and in 3 cases, this resulted in upright parallel horns. So they think they were deliberately modified to ensure the animals' safety from each other, as well as for ease of handling them. So that's the theory. Do they know that for sure? No. Okay. But maybe if the horns were going off to the sides or in the front, it would have been more dangerous, and they would have killed each other or whatever. So that's why they think that they modified the horns. This is from 3700 BCE, so very, very old. Yeah. So another interesting story. Here's another one. Oops, don't want that. Pompeii. Okay. They did a DNA analysis on this family. They thought it was a family before they did the DNA study, and they were wrong. Okay. They thought this was a mom, a dad, and the kids. All right. Looks like 2 kids, a mom and a dad, doesn't it? That's what they always thought. Okay. But they debunked it now with a new DNA study. Okay. The new analysis reveals the bracelet-wearing individual was not the mom, but was male, and that he had black hair and dark skin. In addition, the team found no evidence he was related to the 2 infants, both of whom were boys. Indeed, the data suggests the ancestors of these 3 victims had origins in different Eastern Mediterranean or North African populations. They even came from different places. Okay? Yeah. So now they're thinking they're not family or whatever, that they might have been a group of migrants that were living together or something like that. I'm not sure whose kids, though, they were. The kids might have been related to the guy they thought was the dad, but not the other person. I can't remember now. But anyway, it's not the family that they thought it was. So see how DNA analysis can reveal new things? These things have been found long ago, but now they know that their interpretation of it was incorrect. Yeah. Johnny says, I'm trying to subscribe to your Patreon. I don't see the link. Oh, just go to patreon.com/world of antiquity, and you'll go right there. Patreon.com/world of antiquity. You can become my a channel supporter on a long-term basis, but it's only like $2 a month, everybody. $2 a month just to support one of your favorite channels. I'm assuming here. That's easy, right? All right. What else we got here? Everybody's chatting with each other. Okay. What do you... Okay, I guess you're just talking with each other here. Dr. Miano, my archaeological hypothesis is that some Silustani and Espinar towers in Peru were originally metal smelters and were recycled for funerary tombs over a couple thousand or a few hundred years. Jay, that sounds like a decent theory. Yeah, I mean, you gotta talk to somebody who has worked at those sites. They would be the ones to talk to about that. And I don't know who that would be off the top of my head anyway. Can I send you a research paper for you to review and critique? Jay, I'm so busy. And it isn't, I mean, I can only give you general advice anyway. I don't know anything about those sites. So it's not something you need to contact somebody who actually worked there. That's my recommendation. Jason Darby, $5. Thank you so much. Just leaving a tip for the great work and educational content you provide. Cheers and happy holidays. Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that. Dan says, amazed they can get enough samples of adequate quality to do DNA analysis from Pompeii. I remember just a few years ago, Dan, they couldn't get DNA at all from ancient skeletons or anything like that. Now we can. It's just amazing. It's wonderful. Where did the Northwest South Asians and Central Asians acquire the R1A haplogroup in their genes prior to the Indo-European migrations? Asked Poseidon. Oh boy, this is a deep topic, Poseidon. Where did they acquire the R1A haplogroup in their genes? Well, you have to understand that haplogroups aren't all acquired. They actually grow, right? They develop. They're like languages when you think of it that way. They're like languages. You might say, well, how did the French language, where did it come from? Well, it came from Latin, right? But it evolved over time. So haplogroups branch off of other haplogroups. They become a new haplogroup, right? From an older haplogroup. So that's a general answer to the question. You don't have to acquire those genes. Those genes, well, is acquire the right word? Yeah, they just develop, the first people that have R1A I'm talking about. Yeah. But as far as the details go and all that, I don't know if I answered that in my video on the DNA, but maybe outside of here, we can talk about it more, whether I have more time. This channel and History for Granted are my most treasured channels. Thank you so much, Johnny. Bad News Badger donated. Sad to be late, so I'll be watching live 1 hour. Thank you so much, Badger, for the donation. I really appreciate it. Can I send you a book for you to enjoy just because, says Mandy? Sure you can. Sure you can. I have a P.O. box, which is in my newsletters at the bottom. If you want to send it to that, I'll be very grateful. I wonder what the book is. I'm kind of in suspense. I heard recently that they discovered one of the Pompeii victims was actually a giraffe, says Kyle. Oh, you mean wasn't a person? I didn't hear about this one. was a giraffe? The giraffe must have been in bad condition for them to think it was a person. Or do you just mean that they found a giraffe in the ash? That would be interesting. How did they get a giraffe in Rome, in Italy? I'm taking your word for it, Kyle, because I didn't hear about that one. Giovanni says, hey, good day. A bit off topic. I recently saw that Petrie Museum vases got scanned. What do you think can come out of that? Well, it depends on what kind of scan it is. I mean, if you just do a 3D scan of something, you can get a better look at it, I guess. But until you actually analyze that scan, we don't really have any new information. All right, let's look at another one here. Puzzling patchwork skeleton in Belgium contains bones from 5 people spanning 2,500 years. This is interesting. They found a burial. It was a skeleton in a fetal position. I think they have a picture down here. I'm going to refresh this because my ad blocker is not working. Okay. Here we go. See the skeleton here? Well, guess what? It's not one person. Not one person. They've got a Roman woman's skull as part of a Neolithic burial. So much older burial, but it has a Roman woman's skull in it. And why? That's the question. Like, why would there be a burial here with more than one body part? 5 different people are in here, right? So they're trying to figure this out. Now, the going theory is, right, maybe someone accidentally messed the grave up and they were just trying to fix it or something. But why exactly? No one really knows why. But this is spanning a long period of time. We're going from Neolithic times all the way to Roman times, right? 5 people, 2,500 years of people in one skeleton. It's really quite strange. Yeah. Perhaps this community was inspired by superstition or felt the need to connect with an individual who had occupied the area before themselves. It's another possibility. Yeah. But that's an interesting discovery. King Arthur site 5 times older than thought. Oh, that ruins the story. Historic site in Cornwall, linked to King Arthur. Okay, it's called Bodmin Moor. All right, they've just dated it. They thought it was from medieval times. It's actually prehistoric. It goes back to the Neolithic period. It's 4,000 years earlier than they thought. Okay. He says, now we have to reappraise our understanding of the prehistoric landscape of Bodmin Moor. Yeah. Can you believe that? The great King Arthur monument, it was called King Arthur's Hall. Okay. I think people probably just saw it. They attributed it to King Arthur and the stories grew. Turns out it's not even from medieval times. You might say, well, King Arthur, wasn't he ancient? Roman times, maybe, if the real King Arthur existed. But that's still too late. Yeah. That's kind of funny. Oh, we already saw that one. Here we go. So this is a new tomb, family tomb, found at South Asasif in Egypt from the Middle Kingdom, 12th to 13th dynasty. Okay. They were clearing the south side of the superstructure of the 25th dynasty tomb of Karabaskin when they discovered this, the first Middle Kingdom tomb found in the area. And they found all this jewelry and everything in it. See that mirror? There's more down here. Really well preserved. It's a family tomb. There's some scarabs. Okay. Some really great, well preserved accessories from this tomb. The Middle Kingdom, 12th to 13th dynasty, is quite old. Okay. We're talking like more than 3,000, maybe 700, 800 years old. So yeah, pretty darn old. So this is another interesting discovery. Archaeologists discover 4,000-year-old Bronze Age settlement hidden in Saudi Arabian oasis. Didn't look like this. This is a 3D reconstruction. Al-Nata, it's called. Okay, 4,400 years old in Khaybar Oasis in Saudi Arabia, Bronze Age. Yeah. They call it Al-Nata now. It's not the ancient name. I don't think they know the ancient name. The town was occupied starting around 2400 BC, it says. It was small with a population of only about 500 people. But it's a new town. It's at the beginnings of urbanization. It's not like completely urbanized itself. It's just a town. But look, it even had a wall. So that's an interesting new discovery too. Now I want to share with you some bad news. Well, it's actually good news. It's good news because we discovered bad news, okay? And it's good to get these things out in the open. Archaeologists may have deliberately misidentified Neanderthal skull. Now, why am I talking about Neanderthal skull? Because it's actually from Roman times, okay? There's actually a number of things he misidentified, but yeah. So it turns out the famous Neanderthal Ochnendung was neither Neanderthal nor especially ancient. Came from 7th or 8th century AD. But there's another one. Yeah. There's the Battle of Rigodulum in AD 70. Okay. They say that they found these skulls, the skull fragments that were part of the, I guess, the fight, the battle. It was claimed that a trove of Roman artifacts included coins and fragments of weapons. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting that confused with the first one. So this is just for the coins and weapons. And it said that this was near the ancient site of Rigodulum. Okay. But now they're finding this to be inadequate. All right. It's the same guy, but they didn't say who he was. They won't reveal his name. I think it'd probably be fairly simple to figure it out if he had published on it. But they're not saying his name. I guess he's getting disciplined. But he deliberately, on both of these things, deliberately made it look more exciting than what it actually was. So archaeologists are not immune to fraud. Fortunately, at least in this case, they get caught. All right. So that's archaeology news I thought I would bring up. And also, and I hesitated about doing this because I could be opening up a can of worms here. But people have been mentioning in the comments about how, well, number one, how archaeological sites are getting destroyed in Gaza and how archaeological sites are getting destroyed in Ukraine. And so I wanted to share that there are pages here from UNESCO. They did assessments of both of these places, telling us what was actually damaged, at least up to October 11th here. So for Gaza, we have 69 sites total that have damaged since October 7th, 2023, up until October. So in that year's time, 69 damaged sites. Now, how many of these are ancient sites? Obviously, I'm more interested in the ancient sites, but this is not to say the other sites aren't important. They are important, but at least for like my purposes, I was interested to know. There were 7 archaeological sites that are mentioned. There's a list here below. Most of the things on the list are Islamic period monuments and buildings, which of course I'm not saying that's not important. That's important. But I was looking for like, well, what ancient sites were there? There's a Roman cemetery here, number 16. That got damaged or destroyed. They don't say whether it's damaged or destroyed. And then I noticed some Bronze Age sites. So Tel El Ajul, which is on the coast, I believe, is a Bronze Age site. Tel Esakan is another one. Let's see, there were others. Tel Rafa, that's near the border crossing. That's a Bronze Age site. I think there were 3 Bronze Age sites, or maybe 4. But most of these are more recent than that. And I don't want to really talk about, well, let me just say this. One of the Palestinian ministers said that these are being deliberately targeted. Now, I can't comment on that. I don't know. But some other people I saw online say that they were targeted to destroy evidence that Palestinians were in the land before Israelis. I don't think that could be the case because, well, first of all, most of these aren't even sites from that time period. And there's a few that are, but they're either in Gaza City or they're on the border crossing, things like that. This is places where probably would have got bombed anyway. So that, I don't think is probably true. Then we got here Ukraine. Only 2 archaeological sites in Ukraine, although 32 museums. I'm not sure how many ancient artifacts were in the 32 museums. There are far more damaged sites in Ukraine, 468 sites. The 2 archaeological sites are prehistoric, so that's what I found out about that. But you have to click on each of these to see the names of them. Wait a minute, worked before. I clicked on these before, and maybe it's because my ad blocker's off or on. But anyway, if you go there, you should be able to click on these. Most of them are churches that I saw. 145 religious sites. So, yeah. So, I just, in case you were interested, like, well, what do we have? What did we lose? Things like that. You can go to UNESCO and get the full details on. Well, it's not the full details, just the names. But then you can look up the sites to figure that out if you were interested. Yeah. Okay, now I'm scared to look at the chat, but we'll see what. How many artifacts were lost in World War II? A lot, GA. A lot were lost in World War II. Jay says, Dr. Miano, thank you for the advice earlier, and I'm very motivated in this hypothesis. I have talked to the on-site archaeologist, and they said it's very plausible. All right, Jay. Well, that's good news. Glenn says, warfare is highly destructive all around. This is just one reason among billions that war should be avoided. Yeah. I mean, here's what I'm thinking also. You got people online saying things like, save Göbekli Tepe, when they're actual archaeologists working at Göbekli Tepe right now. You can go there right now and see the archaeologists working there. And they're like, save Göbekli Tepe. But they say nothing about archaeological sites that are actually getting destroyed. It seems just a little off. Yeah. Yes, Johnny, it is a touchy subject, and I'm amazed that you guys aren't arguing right now about it, but okay, maybe I'll get it in the comments later. Well, anyway, folks, there's your archaeology news for the month of November. What did you think? Was it all right? Did you find some of these things interesting? I'll post them all below when I get off, so you can check them out in more detail. Thank you so much. I guess you guys should have a good weekend. I wish you all well, and we'll see you next month for another live stream. But in the meantime, I've got a few days a new China video coming out, so check that out. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.